Hi all, so last week I posted a video about teaching vocabulary using a story for young lower level learners, and we talked about pointing out vocabulary, different types of vocabulary in a reading, making anchor charts around the room, making flashcards, making sure that students have their own anchor charts where they can put different categories of vocabulary words, making vocabulary clusters, doing partner cartoons, and then also telling the story and learning about story organization with story maps. Something I also did with the story Millie's Owls. Sorry, I forgot the name of the story already. Millie's Night Owls. So this week we're talking about verb tenses. And in the story Millie's Night Owls, there's a lot of past tense, simple past tense. So anytime you're working on grammar and you have a story and it has a lot of verbs in the tense that you're teaching, it's really great to pull those out so they see the use of the verb tense in context. So I told you for your short demos this week to pick a tense, tell me the level of learners you're teaching. So if I were going to teach a tense this week, I would pick the simple past tense, and this is low-level young learners. I would say, again, I don't teach children, but based on the story that I picked, this could be first, second grade, maybe even kindergarten. So I would introduce the past tense. You can introduce the past tense. I'm not showing it right now, but anytime you speak about something, you should also write it down for those more visual learners. So you're hitting the auditory learners and the visual learners. Write down what is a good definition of the past tense. When do we use the past tense? So we use the past tense to talk about things that finished sometime in the past. They have no connection whatsoever to the present. And then you can also introduce time words that are used with the simple past tense. So you want to show that they happened sometime in the past. So what are some time words? Last night, last weekend, last week, in 1980, 2 years ago. Now, when teaching the past tense, you want to start with the regular past tense and the ed ending. And you can show them, again, I know I'm not showing you, I'm just talking to you right now, but show them the base form of the verb, or even if you've already gone over the simple present tense, show them the simple present tense, so then you're reviewing it, and then show them how to change it to the simple past tense. So either the base form or the present tense, show them how to change it to the past tense by using ed. And then you always want to give them examples. So you can give them examples on the board, of course, and then maybe give them sentences where they can fill in the blank with the tense. And then let's show them a natural context. So in Millie's Night Owls, we have a lot of past tense sentences. Now these sentences have both regular past tense and also irregular past tense. And I also have a phrasal verb, which is fine, but just know that you would either have to cut it down to either just show them the regular past tense first, then bring their irregular later, or do this activity after you've already gone over both the regular past tense and the irregular. But let me show you what I pulled out of Millie's Night Owls. So here are just some of the sentences in past tense that we have for Millie's Night Owls. Now you see the irregular verbs that I have are common irregular. So right after you teach the regular past tense, these are some of the common irregular verbs you're going to teach right away. In Millie's bedroom, she saw an owl, nightlight, and lamp. So see, saw, that's very common. At her desk, Emma found a letter with an owl stamp. She finally sat in a chair, but the owls seemed to stare. So found, sat. The next one is heard, and then brought. Those are all very common irregular verbs. So verbs, irregular verbs that you will teach very early on. But now we also have a good mix of regular verbs with just that added past tense ending. Seemed, searched, stumbled, looked out. So there you have a phrasal verb. Tiptoed, ed. So a nice group of sentences for them to see it in context. So you can either point that out while you're reading, or after you teach the past tense, go back into the book and point out the past tense and show that this happened in the past when she did visit her Aunt Millie now. It's finished. There's no connection to the future, to the present, sorry. And then also, if you have very low level students who are struggling with this, what's nice about showing grammar in context in a book is that you can point to pictures to show the motion of what is happening. You can also, of course, use motion yourself to show the action. Again, just like when we talked about the adjectives, you can make lists or charts of the verbs, so anchor charts in your room, as well as have the students open those vocabulary notebooks and on a different page from the adjectives, have them make charts with different verbs, and you can separate them into regular and irregular verbs. Again, you can have them review them by making flashcards. So just like we talked about making flashcards with the adjectives, where the adjective, the word is on one side, and then on the other side could either be a definition or a picture, and put them in groups, have them look at each word, see if they can come up with a definition. If they come up with a definition, then have them flip the cards, see if they got it right, based on either the definition or the picture on the other side. If they're not sure what the word means, well, then they have the picture or the definition on another side. I'm sure you guys all know this, but just if you're a new teacher or you're thinking about becoming a teacher, a very good application for making flashcards that you can print out and then cut up for your students is Quizlet. So Quizlet.com. Now, a nice extension activity for this, and this I learned from teaching teachers in this course. See, I told you earlier that I learned so much from teaching you because I teach adults. And when you do your demos, like you will this weekend, and I can't wait to watch them because I learned so much about teaching young people from watching your demos. And I use so much of what I learn. I might change it a little to gear it more towards adults, or if I have to give a presentation, you guys give me so many good ideas. And this is one of them. So a lot of the teachers that I've had in this class, when they teach grammar, and if they use a story to teach vocabulary or a grammar point, they'll often end with an art project associated with it. And I love that because it's something interesting for young people to do. It's an extension of what they've learned, what they've been thinking about. And it's not just art, it's causing them to use the vocabulary and the words that they've learned through the reading and teaching, but in a fun way. So when you're done with this story, and after you've done all the vocabulary and the grammar and everything that you can get out of it, there's so many owls in the story. So you can have the students decorate their own owl. So either give them an owl with decorations, or let them draw their own and have them describe it. So last week we learned all kinds of descriptive words or adjectives. So you can have them describe their owl just using descriptive words. And depending on how high or low the students are, they might just be able to use the words. But if they can actually put the words together in phrases or even in sentences, that would be better. Now, if the students are slightly higher beginners or intermediate, you could have them tell a story about their owl, even if it's just a few sentences, like 5 sentences. Tell the story about something that happened with the owl. Use the past tenses. And you can have them make stories as partners. You could have them tell their story to the whole class, or if that's a little bit too much for them, have them walk around. So have the partners walk to the group to their right and share their stories. Describe their owl, what happened to their owl. Share their 5 sentences. Then move to the next group. Share their 5 sentences again. So they're all speaking, they're all listening, they're all using the descriptive vocabulary they learned last week. They're all trying to use past tenses that they've just been taught in context, in sentences, and within a story talking about their owl and their writing. So look at how many skills you're using there. You're reading, writing, listening, speaking. If they're telling their stories out loud, reading out loud is very important because you're working on pronunciation. Pronunciations of sounds, putting the stress on the correct syllable, working rhythm and intonation. So just a simple draw an owl. Look at how many different skills and how much language they can get out of that. So I know this is an extremely short video, but I told you last week that I had done something with verb tenses with Millie's night owls and that I'd make another short video. And again, these are not my ideas. Most of the ideas I get for teaching children, I get from you. So I'm really excited to see your verb tense demos this week to see what other ideas for teaching I can get from you.